I am Ripper the Clown, and tonight was a very, very sad night for me because I was down doing an event. I had just actually got there and I did something I've never done before, and that's leave an event. I left because I found out, I got the news from a friend that Rowdy Roddy Piper had passed away, and it just broke my heart. I instantly thought I was going to puke. I started shaking. I was absolutely devastated. And, I don't talk about this publicly a lot, but I've known Rowdy Roddy Piper since 2004. He knew me as Jake, not Ripper the Clown. I never got the chance to meet up with him in character. But what I do know is that Rowdy Roddy Piper was a really good man to me. He was really sweet to me. And how I met Rowdy Piper is very strange. I met it through eBay because I had purchased some items on eBay sold by Rowdy Roddy Piper's stalker back in 2004, and I was contacted by the Oregon police asking me to turn them over to them, which I did, and shortly thereafter I received a phone call from Rowdy Roddy Piper to thank me, and at the time I was going through my own stalker situation. I had a female stalker for 4 years, and in the first conversation with Rowdy Roddy Piper, I didn't talk to him about, my favorite childhood memories or ask him stories about, wrestling this guy or that guy. We talked to each other, just a couple guys talking about our stalkers. And, it was, I can't tell you what it meant to me because, number one, this guy was my childhood hero. When I was a kid, it was Rowdy Roddy Piper, Jake the Snake Roberts, and Doink the Clown, and those are the men. And, I love those guys. And I had their figures, I had Piper figures, and I just loved the Roddy Piper image. I love They Live, and so we didn't talk. When we talked on the phone, we didn't talk about his career. We just shared our stalker stories. And stalking, you really don't have a lot of guys who are stalked. And if they do, they really don't talk about it. And so I really didn't have anyone to talk to. So like the male that I had to talk to was Rowdy Roddy Piper, one of my childhood heroes. It was just unbelievable. And he would just periodically call and check in and see how I was doing, because technically his situation was over. Mine was still ongoing. And he checked in, and, I have voicemail saved from him. And, we kept in touch over 11 years. And, I started doing Ripper the Clown. There's a Rowdy Piper button right there. All the inspirations for my actor on the hat. Jake Roberts is up there, Jim Varney, Blues Brothers, Hunter Thompson, Groucho Marx, Rowdy Roddy Piper. In 2011, I started writing fiction books. And in every single one of my fiction books, Rowdy Roddy Piper is mentioned. There's a book called Dead Wrestlers, Broken Necks, and the Women Who Screwed Me Over. He's in that one. I reference a lot of the narration in my books is, the narrators inferred to be me, Jake, and one of the stories, the narrator, his name is Nada, which was me, and it was Nada from John Nada and They Live. And then in my second book, We Leave With Our Guns Out, I mentioned, there's a whole big long story in there with Nada as the main character and several references to Rowdy Roddy Piper. I referenced They Live in all of my books. In my two Ripper the Clown novels, the zombie book and the time travel book, John Nada is the Vice President of the United States. And in my Ripper the Clown videos, if you just look at my channel, there's like 5 or 6 Roddy Piper videos. There's a They Live commercial. There's a couple They Live comedy videos. There's a reason why Roddy Piper's on this hat. I grew up watching the man as a fan, and I got to know him as a man, as a person. And that's rare, man. I've been blessed. I've had numerous childhood heroes. Both Jake Roberts and Matt Bourne I've got to know. And I feel blessed. Not many people could say that they've become friends with so many childhood heroes. It's just, I don't know, it's just weird for me to think that all this is, I've met all these childhood idols, but I have. And, I love what Roddy Piper did. And that's why I referenced him. It's why he was in so much of my work. It's because he was a genius, he was an innovator, and They Live, to my opinion, it's the greatest freaking movie of all time. I reference I've come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass line all the time in my work. I mean, again, in my books and my videos, I use it all the time because Roddy Piper was just the freaking man. And, you know, this is my little tribute to Roddy Piper, you know. I mean, and you know, I've kept in touch with him over the years. He, you know, he tweeted some of my videos on Twitter, favorited some of my videos. Immediately when I heard he passed away, I looked up an email that he had sent me. It's kind of cryptic now. I'm going to read it here. It's from September 12th, 2011. I wrote to him, I said, "Dear Roddy, I read about your emergency surgery and just want to drop you a line letting you know that you'll be in my thoughts and prayers. You're the best, man. It was great seeing you back in July, and I'll be keeping an eye out for updates and hope this message finds you resting comfortably." It was when Piper, he had needed emergency neck surgery. And he replied, says, "Thanks, Jake, I miss you. Maybe we could finally work together. If I die, you can have a fresh cadaver. Love, me." And I know it's kind of cryptic and maybe a little odd to read that email because I have a lot from him, but that one stood out in my mind because at the time I was worried that he wasn't going to make it. And you know, it was the first thing when I heard he passed away. I thought of that email, and he offered me his cadaver. And I know he just had a weird sense of humor, and I love him for it. But I don't know why. That just popped in my mind. I'm sharing it with you right now, and you know, I'm just blown away that he's gone. And I saw him. Last time I saw him was 2 summers ago in July, and I knew he wasn't well. I knew by our interaction that he was not healthy, and it tore me up. Like, it just wiped me away because I just knew that he probably wasn't going to be around much longer. I could just tell. Just physically and mentally, emotionally, he was different. And, you know, I knew this day was probably going to come, but I never really wanted to think about it. And I was depressed there for about 2 or 3 weeks after I saw him two Julys ago, because I was worried about him. And, you know, God bless Roddy Piper for everything that he did, you know, in his life and in his career. And he was a great performer. So many people loved him. And I consider myself lucky and blessed to be able to have said that I, you know, knew him just not as a fan, but I knew him as a man, and I got to talk to him and share experiences with him. And, you know, and I'll say it again, he was there for me during a bad time in my life when I was dealing with the stalker. And he was concerned for me, somebody he had just met, and he was there for me. And I always remember that. I mean, whenever I would see him, he would stand and he would talk to me, and we would just hang out, and he signed stuff for me left and right. And he was, I mean, I remember him saying something like, in one of the emails, he was like, "I'm going to be in Indianapolis, bring me stuff to sign," or something to that effect. And it was just, he was, my hands are still trembling just talking about it. I'm still really shocked, but I just wanted to share this, my tribute to Roddy Piper, my love for Roddy Piper as a fan, as a childhood. He's someone who I idolized as a child, and you know, as an adult, man, he was a great guy, and he treated me like gold. And it's you know, there's a reason why his work, I always pay homage to his work. Love you, Roddy. Thank you for everything.